Yeah, good morning all. So today I want to discuss about the Android runtime environment and the differences between Android runtime environment and Dalvik virtual machine. So today I want to cover much of the stuff in detail about what is Android virtual machine and how it will work internally. And today we are going to learn some more beautiful concepts or points related to the part of Android. So today's class is a little bit very important for your journey of Android. Uh, so hope everyone was clear about Android architecture, the high level architecture of Android, what we discussed in yesterday's class. So what is Android booting? So recollecting some of the important points what we discussed in the yesterday's class, uh, that is nothing but Android architecture, uh, that is comes under the different layers in your Android powered mobile. So what were the layers? The bottom layer is nothing but hardware, and on the top on the hardware we have a Linux kernel. On the top on the Linux kernel, we have your Dalvik virtual machine, uh, and this Dalvik virtual machine on the top on that, we have Android SDK and Android NDK. On the top on the Android SDK and NDK, we have services. So on the top on the services, we have Android applications. So this is about the architecture. So what were the key points you have to know from the yesterday's class is two important things. Android is a mobile operating system. That is nothing but Android uses Linux kernel as a base operating system. On the top on that, they developed Android operating system by based on the Java. So I can say Android is a system of system. Android is a system of system. That means Android operating system is developed based on the Linux kernel only. That means Android operating system is tightly coupled to Linux kernel. So remember, I'm not talking about the complete Linux operating system. Linux operating system is a very big in size. I'm not going to worry about that. Linux kernel, what are the functionalities taken care by the Linux kernel? Those was abstracted by our Android. So on the SDK and NDK, so the software development kit and native development kit, what are the differences between those two things mean? The software development kit contains a couple of software applications, that is the collection of the people who want to develop Android apps, who want to publish into the Google Play Store. So what are the apps you are installing in your mobile? All those are nothing but Android software apps only. Those are developed with the help of Android SDK. So SDK means it contains collection of classes and interfaces which provides a ready-made services to our application, to our Android application. So Android NDK, Native Development Kit, this is used for connecting with your internal hardware like sensors, audio, video, camera, microphones, even in motherboard. whatever it may be. So for that, you have to write some couple of C++ code also in order to integrate with your Android. So Android NDK is always useful for the company based. So suppose if you are working for Samsung company, in the Samsung company, for every model, whatever the mobile they launched in the market every time, for every model, you have to uh, implement the latest changes for the hardware support, whatever it may be. So what are the new hardware setup are assembled in your mobile? That can be a motherboard, or that can be a processor, that can be a Linux version. Uh, so you can implement it according to your requirement. Okay. So now what we are going to handle it um, according to our requirement. So 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 now we understand how we are going to handle it, SDK and NDK, the software development kit and NDK. So remember, services are very, very important. Services are the real hero of Android. Services are doing hidden jobs. You cannot see those things explicitly. So every Android mobile, what are the apps you installed that contains services? Obvious, it is obvious. Without services, nothing do with Android application. Even in your mobile also, some of the services are started by defaultly. Suppose the person is making a call to you, or you want to make a call to them, or you want to send an SMS, you want to schedule an alarm. Hmm? What are the actions you are doing on your mobile? Okay, from power on to, from switch on to switch off, from switch on to switch off. In between that, what are the actions you are doing on your mobile? Always those are connected with services only. Without services, there was nothing in Android. So that is the most important thing. We are going to talk about the services concept more detail in the coming concepts. So services, what are the predefined services are there? What are the user defined services are there? How to work with that? How to use them in your Android application? That will go step by step, more detail about that. Okay, guys. So I think we discussed about this high level architecture. Then I also discussed about one point yesterday, that is Android booting. So what is booting? Android booting is nothing but it is a process of starting all the layers of your Android, starting all layers of the Android in the reverse order. Whenever you switch on the mobile will take some amount of time to bring up your home screen in front of you. It will take some time, like hardly 2 seconds or 3 seconds or 5 seconds, based on your RAM configuration, based on the processor, whatever hardware you are using. It will take some time. So at that moment, you will see a company logo will come initially first whenever you switch on the mobile. So that indicate that the booting process is going on. Booting process means it actuates your all the hardware, whatever the hardware which was assembled in your mobile, that can be motherboard, processor, uh, audio devices, microphones, microphone speakers, webcam. Okay, so whatever it may be, all these hardwares, even sensors, also started activating. and your Linux kernel, that Linux kernel also initializes those responsibilities, the initial activities. So it will wake up, nothing but. So on that, your Android services, once the Linux kernel is activated, Linux kernel initializes your Android SDK and NDK, uh, and after that, your apps. What are the apps which are installed? What are the apps which are installed on your application? What are the apps which are installed on your application? All those apps will come into the picture. Those apps are resided in your secondary memory, that is nothing but the hard disk of your mobile by defaultly. So today I want to discuss um, what is Android runtime environment. Today's topic is what is ART and DVM. Today's topic is on this part actually. What is ART and DVM? ART stands for Android Runtime Environment. DVM stands for Dalvik Virtual Machine. So ART stands for Android Runtime Environment. DVM stands for Dalvik Virtual Machine. So what were the differences? What were the differences you have to learn about Android and Dalvik Virtual Machine? That is the most important thing. It was the difference is very, very important. Then we'll talk about today how the differences will come into the picture. Nowadays, there were no longer of DVM in the versions of the latest versions, that was replaced by ART, Android Runtime. DVM is supported up to some basic versions only. So before going to talk about ART and DVM, I want to discuss about what is runtime. What is runtime actually? Runtime is nothing but what is the definition of runtime? It is a system, that is your operating system, which is taking care of converting your code, uh, whatever the code which was converted from the high level language. High level language means suppose my Android application is developed either on Java or Kotlin, any of the programming language I can use. Any of the programming language I can use, either Java or Kotlin, whatever it may be. Uh, once this was ready, either Android or Kotlin, once the Java programming language, whatever the code which was developed for your Android application, whatever the code we developed, so that code is internally converted into intermediate code. Okay, so that intermediate code is taken care by your runtime to convert into machine code or binary code instructions that was understandable by your processor. Okay, got it, guys? So this is a general terminology in every programming environment. Just I want to uh, recollect your concepts. Okay, so if you know these things already, just try to recollect it, what I am explaining, before going to jump into what is ART and what is DVM before going to discuss about our actual topic. I want to give some brush up on this. Okay, so this is runtime environment, and this is your intermediate code, and this is your application, and this is processor. Okay, so let's give the names for better clarity. Android application, intermediate code, runtime system, processor. So this is there. So your Android application can be developed either on Java programming language or Kotlin programming language. On any programming language, you can develop your Android application. So ultimately, the compiler, whatever the compiler we have, okay, that compiler converts, that means it compiles your Android application and translates your Android application, your high level code. This is high level code into intermediate code. Intermediate code is nothing but the DEX code. DEX code instructions, Dalvik executable code instructions. Dalvik executable code. Okay, so in Java, whenever if you compile your Java application, your Java compiler translates your Java code into intermediate code, that is nothing but bytecode in Java. Those bytecode instructions are saved into class file. The class file is created by compiler automatically in Java. In Android, whether it is implemented on Java or Kotlin, it doesn't matter to the compiler. Compiler translates your total code into intermediate code instructions, nothing but a DEX code. DEX code is a advanced bytecode instructions. Okay, so it looks like bytecode only, some more advanced to bytecode. It's more lightweight, Dalvik executable code. That is the instruction. This is intermediate code. Who developed the DEX code instructions? Android team only. The Android team only developed this DEX code instruction. Interesting point is, for the entire Android application, DEX code is created, only one DEX code file is created. That is, compiler creates only one file to translate the whole code of your Android application into DEX code. Okay, but in Java, what happens in Java generally? Suppose if I return 20 classes in my Java program, for every class file is created internally by the compiler. 20 classes means 20 class files are created. Each class file contains that bytecode instruction, that converted code instructions. But in Android, even though if I write 20 classes, whether by using Java or Kotlin, we are writing the same code, like how you are writing in Java in the same style, whether you are following Kotlin or Java, whatever it may be, assume we written 20 classes. So for those 20 classes, only one file is generated. That is nothing but DEX code. It will not generate each file separately for each class. Remember, DEX code is more compressed, like how we are using WinZip or WinRAR software to compress your folders into a single file, to reduce the memory footprint, to reduce the size. Whenever if you want to transfer some images or some video files, some content over the network, if you want to send in the mail, what you are doing, we are WinZip, you are using WinZip or WinRAR to compress, right? To reduce the size. Similarly, DEX code is just like a compressor. Okay, intermediate code, they want to compress it more lightweight. They don't want to go for regular bytecode instructions, because regular bytecode instructions takes more amount of size as compared to this. So that's why they developed this intermediate code instructions, Android team. Okay, guys. So what this runtime system will take care? Runtime system comes with our software only. In Java, runtime system is JVM, Java Virtual Machine. In Android, the old versions of Android follows DVM, Dalvik Virtual Machine, and the latest versions are followed Android Runtime Environment, ART. Okay, so I will tell you when Android Runtime Environment introduced as a runtime system, comparing to the Dalvik Virtual Machine. We'll talk about that point more detail. All right. So this runtime system understands your intermediate code instructions and convert that code and give it to the processor. That is nothing but machine code instructions. That is in the form of 1 zeros, set of 1 zeros, binary code instruction. That is, the runtime system reads this intermediate code instructions, nothing but your DEX code instructions in our Android, that is translated into machine code instructions or binary code instructions, which are understandable by the processor. Just like, guys, if I don't know Hindi language, let's say person 1 knows Hindi, person 2 knows Telugu. In between Hindi and Telugu, how can you exchange these language conversions? I need to build one interpreter or converter to understand the both languages. So if the person 1 sends a Hindi request to that interpreter, that converts into Telugu instructions and sent to that respective guy. That person understands the Telugu instructions and returns the response in the Telugu back to this converter, and converter convert that response back to Hindi and return back to this person, like how we are doing. So processor always understand machine code instructions only, because this is a machine design. Processor is a hardware, it is not a software. Processor is a hardware. All hardware systems understands only the binary language, 1 zeros only, machine code instructions. Okay, so that's why whatever the programming language you go, it doesn't matter whether it is a C language or C++ or even .NET or Java or Python or PHP, etc., etc. The runtime system will be there of every programming language, which converts their intermediate code instructions into binary code instructions, which are understandable by our processor. So that is the most important and interesting thing what I need to say here. So now in CPU, whenever I'm saying the CPU, central processing unit, or computer, what we are going to say, which is responsible to convert machine code to convert it into machine code, what I'm saying, how it will convert your intermediate code into machine code, how it will be converted means with the help of translator. Okay, guys, how this runtime system converts this intermediate code into machine code means with the help of translator. So how many types of translators are available? Primary one is known as assembler. So what is assembler? Assembler is responsible to directly translates assembly code to machine code. Assembly code is a very low level one, guys. Assembly code is a very beginning, so it is very fast. Assembly code to machine code at that time, in the very beginning of the journey of the programming language, in the beginning, at that time people will written in the assembly code instructions that will convert it into machine code. Assembler will take care about that. It is very fast. Next generation is compiler. Compiler, what the compiler will do means, compiler translates the code. The code means whatever the code you written on the high level language, that can be Java or Kotlin, whatever it may be, that is converted into assembly code. Assembly code means your intermediate code. Then that assembler will take care about to translate that code into binary code. This type of compilation was very slow. This type of compilation process was very slow, but execution is fast. But the problem in this approach is machine code, whatever the machine code generated by this compiler, whatever the machine code generated to translating here, that is platform dependent. That means the result of this machine code, I cannot execute this on one machine on another machine, because the machine code instruction set, the series of the machine code instructions will be changed from one machine to another machine, because Mac operating system architecture is different, Linux operating system architecture is different, okay, Solaris operating system is different. Like that, every operating system comes under the different architecture model. So whatever the machine code instructions which was converted, here, so that will take the responsibility to handle it in the background job. Okay, just a minute, guys. Got one phone call. Just a minute. Okay, so I'm back, guys. Sorry. So we understand what is assembler, what is compiler. These are the two different translators. The initial journey of the programming language written in the assembly code, the very beginning assembly code, that is a very direct process. assembler is nothing but it's a translator to translate our assembly code into machine code. So it was very fast process. Later generation is compiler. So compiler journey, when the compiler's journey was started means from the C language onwards. From the C language, C++, from those programming language onwards, compiler's concept is introduced. It translates the code into assembly code, and then internally it uses assembler to convert that assembly code into binary code. Okay, so that binary code instructions are platform dependent, means operating system dependent or machine dependent. That means I cannot copy that machine code instructions into another machine, because that whatever the series of binary code instructions were generated, that is compatible with our underlying operating system, with our processor only. If I use the same operating system in the another machine with the same configuration, then it will work. That's what I'm saying. Okay, then the last translator is interpreter. So interpreter is responsible to translate the code while executing it. That means, what is the meaning here? Line by line, at the time of execution only, line by line, it translates the code into machine code instructions. Means, what do you mean by that? It will do the compiling process parallelly with execution, step by step, line by line it will go, and it converts that code into machine code instruction. This type of process happens at runtime, no? Parallelly it will go, no? Then your execution will very slow. That's why no one uses interpreter. No one uses interpreter. Okay. So that is about translators, the type of translators what we need to understand here. So which type of translator we are using in our runtime system model in your Python or in C++ or Java or .NET, whatever it may be, we are always using compiler only. Compiler converts your high level language into intermediate code, nothing but your assembly code instructions. Then later assembler will take care about to convert into machine code instructions. So this is the concept what we are following nowadays in our market. Okay. Remember the point here, how Android execution works, the story behind what is ART and JVM. Let's come back to our point. Okay. So I already told you that Android application can be developed either on the Java programming language or Kotlin programming language. Ultimately, the compiler converts that code into the DEX-code instructions, and later the DEX-code instructions was translated into machine code instructions, either by using Android runtime environment or Dalvik virtual machine. So remember the point. Which format? What was the format of your DEX code instructions? The format of DEX code is different from one Android device to another Android device because their hardware configuration will be different. The device architecture will be different. So that's why the DEX code, whatever the DEX code which was generated, it is independent. It is independent of the device architecture. That means, what is the meaning here? I can execute this DEX code on any operating system, on any Android device, because DEX code is independent. later the DEX code is translated by your Android runtime environment or DVM into their understandable format. So now let's summarize this, what I said. People will get the doubt in this point. Now imagine I have two Android mobiles, guys. One Android mobile is Samsung. This is Samsung. Whatever the model, okay, take any model, some Android device. This is Honor, okay. This is one mobile. This is one mobile, okay. And this is my Google Play Store. In this Play Store, I have a different applications. There are different Android applications are available in the Play Store. Okay. So what do you mean by these applications? This is nothing but DEX code instructions. The developers of these applications, who developed these applications, at the end of the day, they will publish those applications into the Google Play Store. Publishing those applications means, what do you mean by that? The DEX code instructions, the intermediate code is uploaded into the Play Store. Okay. How it is uploaded? They will package them into one of the special file called APK file, application package file, or Android package file. Okay, APK file. Who create this APK file? The developer only will create this APK file. Whenever your Android application development is completed, what happens? Your Android application, whatever the intermediate code was there, that is nothing but the DEX code instructions. That DEX code instructions was compressed, that means into this APK file. And even though along with the DEX code instructions, what are the images, what are the icons, any other resources which are there, those are also copied into this APK file. And finally, this APK file is uploaded into the Google Play Store by the developer. So that means your Play Store contains collection of APK files only. Every app, whatever the app you uploaded into the Google Play Store is nothing but APK file only. Okay. So what do you mean by this? It's just like a setup file. It's just like a setup file for your regular software application. For Android application, the setup file is nothing but APK file. So whenever if you download this app, if anyone download this APK file, if you want to install the app in your mobile, let's say I want to install this APK file, the user of the Samsung want to install this APK file. Similarly, the same APK file want to install of the Honor. Remember, these two are the different devices. Their architecture will be different. What type of hardware they are using, that will be different. Internal hardware, I mean about the processor and internal versions. Okay, but what happens here means, what is the common point you have to understand? This APK file contains the DEX code instructions that is understandable by your Android runtime environment. So your Android runtime environment is common across all the mobiles. So your Android runtime environment understands your DEX code instruction and converts into that machine code instructions, that is very low level instruction that were understandable by your current device. Current device means your processor will take care about that responsibility. So that's why the same APK file has been installed on the different devices of your Android. How it will work means, the APK file internally contains the DEX code instructions that is understandable by your Android runtime system. that is converted into your low-level instructions or machine code instructions, which was understandable by our processor. The processor finally executes that instructions. So that was the story which was happening in the background. Okay, but now what you need to understand here is why Dalvik virtual machine was outdated in the market. That is the most important thing. Dalvik virtual machine follows just-in-time compiler. Dalvik follows just-in-time compiler. So this is the translator internally used by Dalvik virtual machine. This is one of the type of compiler engine. Just-in-time compiler. People can also call it as JIT compiler, just-in-time compiler. That means up to KitKat version, that is up to Android 4.4, the Dalvik virtual machine was there. Up to KitKat. Okay, Dalvik virtual machine is available up to Android 4.4 version only. And from later onwards, Android Lollipop, nothing but 5.0 version, Lollipop. From this version onwards, it was replaced. Android Runtime, ART, has been introduced. From Android 5.0 version onwards, Android Runtime has been used in the place of Dalvik virtual machine. Okay, and in Android 7.0 version, in this version, additionally they added JIT compiler with ART to constantly improve the performance of the app they run. Okay, let's see the history, guys. DVM support ended in Android 4.4 version, that is up to KitKat. Android 5.0, from this onwards, ART was introduced in Android 5.0 version, Lollipop. In Android 7.0, in this version, Google added JIT compiler for improving the performance of your Android runtime system when they run. So interesting point is what the DVM and ART will take care. What the DVM and ART will take care. Dalvik virtual machine uses just-in-time compiler. So what do you mean by just-in-time compiler? Just-in-time compiler is nothing but Java source code. Like an example, I can take an example of Java source code. The Java source code was internally converted into machine code instructions into the intermediate code. Like if you see this diagram, you will get a sound clarity what I am explaining between the runtime environment. Imagine this is your Java process, and this is the different process in Android. So in Java process, whatever the Java code you developed, the Java code is converted into Java bytecode instructions. That is, it is stored in the form of class file. Your compiler will take care about this process. So the compiler translates your Java code into Java bytecode instructions, that is in the form of class file, and I can execute this bytecode instructions on any operating system because it is an intermediate code. Okay, who understand this bytecode instructions mean? These bytecode instructions are understandable by the runtime system of your Java, that is known as JVM, Java Virtual Machine. Okay, JVM follows stack-based model. JVM follows stack-based model. I will explain what is stack-based model and all. And further, the JVM converts your bytecode instructions into machine code instructions based on your underlying operating system and what type of hardware you are using. Based on that, it will convert into that respective instruction set format accordingly. Okay. Now, similarly, if you come to your Android application, in Android application, your Android code can be either Java-based code or Kotlin code, whatever it may be. Either Java code or Kotlin code, whatever it may be, the story remains same only. The Java code or Kotlin code, the story remains same. Your compiler is responsible initially. What the compiler will do means the compiler translates that code into initial Java code instructions first. That is, the compiler translates that code into Java bytecode instructions for a temporarily being. The Java bytecode instruction first, initially your Java compiler validates your Java code, or if it is a Kotlin compiler understands the Kotlin code, Java compiler understands Java code, whatever it may be, whether it is a Kotlin compiler or Java compiler, ultimately you will get Java bytecode instructions only. That is common. And finally, the Java bytecode instructions are understandable by your DEX compiler, that is Android compiler. The DEX compiler compiles your bytecode instructions into the DEX code instructions format. DEX code instructions, that is nothing but Dalvik executable code instructions format. Then finally, this DEX code instructions was handed over to your runtime system model called DVM, the Dalvik Virtual Machine. So the DVM will take care. So DVM understands the DEX code instructions and convert into binary code instructions. So DVM follows event model. DVM follows event model. So what is stack based and what is event model? We'll understand the differences in the tomorrow's class. I will explain this point. So DVM follows event model, whereas JVM follows stack-based model. So these are the differences what you need to understand. So let's summarize it, what we discussed up to now. In your Java programming environment, whatever the Java code you developed, nothing but your high-level code, your Java compiler converts into the intermediate code instructions called bytecode. Those instructions are saved into a class file, and these bytecode instructions are understandable by our JVM to convert that code into machine code instructions, binary code instructions, which are understandable by our processor in the background. Coming to Android environment, in our Android environment, Android application can be developed either on the Java code or Kotlin code, whatever it may be. Java code is understandable by Java compiler. Kotlin code is understandable by Kotlin compiler. Ultimately, compiler converts into Java bytecode instructions only. Whether it is a Java code or Kotlin code, it is converted into bytecode instructions only. And these bytecode instructions was understandable by the DEX compiler, and this compiler translates into DEX code instructions, more compressible code format, DEX code. And finally, this DEX code instructions was understandable by the DVM. So DVM translates the code into your underlying machine code instructions. Okay. So now you have to understand what is the difference between why ART, Android runtime environment introduced, why they are not going with Dalvik virtual machine as a runtime environment. What was the reason behind that? Let's understand the point. Dalvik virtual machine internally uses JIT compiler, just-in-time compiler. So what happens means whenever your app runs every time, means whenever you click on the app icon on your mobile, every time, whenever you open the app, every time it dynamically translates your DVM, dynamically translates your DEX code instructions into machine code instructions. That means what is the meaning here? Every time during the execution process, more bytecode is compiled into machine code instructions and it was cached. But JIT compiler, what is the beauty of JIT compiler is it compiles only the part of the code. Part of the code means whatever the code you are using. Suppose I want to call one method. Which method you are calling? I want to use one particular class. Which class you are using? Only that particular code, which one you are going to invoke, that particular code only converted into machine code instructions. So imagine this DEX code contains, say like 1,000 lines will be there. 1,000 lines code is there in the DEX code. All this 1,000 lines code is not converted into machine code instructions by the DVM. That's the beauty of just-in-time compiler. Just-in-time compiler, what it will do is, which method you are trying to call, which method or which class you are using, based on that, that related bytecode only, that related code only converted into machine code instruction. So remember the point here. So this is about just-in-time compiler story, but Android runtime system follows AOT compiler. AOT compiler means ahead of time compiler. Remember this point, guys. ART uses ahead of time compiler. In the shortcut, we are calling it as AOT. ART uses a head of time compiler. So what do you mean by that point? What this ART will do? What this ahead of time compiler will do? Whenever your app installed, means whenever your app downloaded from the Google Play Store, whenever your app downloaded from the Google Play Store into your device, your head of time compiler statically translates that DEX code into machine code. It statically translate the whole DEX code into machine code and stores into your device memory, secondary memory, during the installation time only. It is one-time job. Every time whenever your app installed on your device. So Git compiler, again they removed it. They introduced it in 7.0 version to increase some better performance of the application. Why Git compiler they used it along with a head of time compiler? ART uses two compilers, guys. A head of time compiler initially converts the whole DEX code into machine code instructions only one time in the beginning, whenever your app installed on your device. It's a one-time job that will store in your secondary memory. So ART doesn't take the help of Git compilation process. So what the Git compiler will do generally in the background, Git compiler, whenever at the time of invoking, during the execution, which method you are calling, which class you are going to call, based on that particular requirement, your code is translated into machine code instructions on demand. Suppose I want to call F1 method or I want to call F2 method. So which method you are going to call for doing the operation, only that method code is loaded as machine code. On demand it will convert. So that will increases the load. Performance execution time will take more. But in Android runtime environment, ART directly runs machine code directly. Android runtime system directly runs your machine code. It doesn't hit the CPU. Means always it doesn't hit the CPU like how the Dalvik virtual machine will do. Okay. Android runtime system directly execute your native code instructions. Okay. Got it, guys? What I'm saying? So Android runtime system directly executes your machine code. It doesn't hit the CPU as hard like how Dalvik virtual machine is doing. Means it is taking the less amount of CPU time so that your battery cannot be drained quickly. The load on the battery reduces. So that's why execution is very faster in the Android runtime system. Okay. So what is the conclusion you need to understand, guys? Android runtime system also using the same DEX code instructions how Dalvik virtual machine is doing. But an application compiled using ART will do the whole translation. The DEX code is converted into machine code instructions. It will consume more amount of space of the device. Device physical space increases. It occupies your secondary memory space. That is a problem in your ART system. Why? Because every app, the whole DEX code is converted into binary code instructions of that respective device only one time in the beginning, right? So it occupies more amount of device space, your secondary memory. But execution is very fast because already it is converted into binary code. Whenever if we execute the same application multiple times, unnecessarily it will not convert bytecode into binary code, bytecode into binary code. This conversion will not be there. It will not hit the CPU every time. So performance is very good. The speed of execution is very good. Okay, that's why ART is used. ART, what were the benefits of ART means? Your app execution is very fast. Your application startup time is reduced. As quick whenever you click on the application, it will be opened very fastly. Battery performance is very good. It will not drain battery power. Because why battery cannot be drained? Because the CPU load is reduced. We are not putting the load on the processor. Because every time we are not asking to convert into bytecode to binary code instructions. Every time we are not doing that operation. We are doing one shot only. During the app installation only, it will convert into binary code instructions. So at the runtime, your code is executed directly. So it doesn't increases that much of load on the CPU. So battery cannot be drained quickly. Okay. So garbage collector is internal process. I will talk about what is garbage collector and all. We'll discuss that point more detail, guys. So hope you understand this class is very, very important. Finally, you came to know what is DVM and what is Android runtime system. What is the difference between just-in-time compiler and ahead-of-time compiler approach? From which version onwards ART comes into the picture, up to which version Dalvik virtual machine is available. What are the differences between that? You understand. So this is what the fundamental thing what you need to understand in our class today. Any more questions, guys? Because intermediate code, if it is not available, if intermediate code is not available, there is no concept of Google Play Store, right? I'm not sure. Suppose I am a developer. I developed my Android code, my Android app. I want to make that Android app to be available on every mobile. I don't know what type of device they are following. The hardware manufacturer unit will come from different. So I want to make that code as universal code. So yeah, that's a good question actually. ART already converted into machine code. Then what will JIT will do in Android means? So generally, JIT will taking care about the just-in-time compiler, just code profiling. Generally, just-in-time compiler with code profiling. Code profiling they want to use for code profiling to Android runtime, just like a support to improve some better performance to our Android application. You know, right? Just-in-time compiler code profiling is nothing but it is a process of converting whatever the part of the code they want to convert into machine code instructions on demand. In Android 7.0, they want to introduce it, but again they back it to ahead of time compiler only. So just code profiling purpose only, they used JIT compiler part. Okay, so that is very, very important. Code profiling means what do you mean by code profiling? First of all, generally in your computer terminology, code profiling means it is a process of profiling a form of dynamic means analyzing the measuring of your application. What was the space of that program? How much space it is occupied? and what was the time complexity of your program. Okay, what was the frequency and duration of the functional call. You will get the complete information of only for code profiling purpose only. They used just-in-time compiler uh, in Android 7.0 version onwards. Remember, code profiling is not a process of converting into machine code. Okay, code profiling means analyzing, calculating the metrics, means how much space, how much amount of memory occupied by this application. What was the time complexity? How much time it will take care for executing this program? How frequency and how much time executing your method? How many times the method will be called? For this purpose, they are using profiling. For this purpose, they use. So remember, just-in-time compiler is not used for running a particular item or app event. Okay, just-in-time compiler is just for code profiling, just what I said. Okay, a head-of-time compiler is the main part in the Android runtime system. So Android runtime system directly takes your machine code instructions and directly execute the code. It will not hit the CPU every time to convert your code on demand or on fly. Okay, guys, you understand, I think, my question and answer to you. All right, cool. So that is the job. Okay, and Ujjwal, you asked one question, right? What is Flutter and Corona framework? You asked this question. For this question, answer we'll see in the next coming class. Okay, coming classes I will cover about what is this hybrid mobile application development. That I will talk more detail in the coming classes. So surely you'll get answer for this question. Okay. So that's all about for our discussion, guys. Tomorrow I am going to cover what is the most important stuff and all those things. So tomorrow also is a very important session. Please come to the class regularly without missing even class. Very, very important things we are going to learn. Okay. So that is what about our discussion as of now. Yeah, I will prepare the notes. I am already in that part only. This 1 week notes I will give you on Monday. I will say once the batch is setted, I will definitely give the note. That's why I asked you people to collect the points what I am typing on my monitor. You can take the screenshot of that instead of writing. Okay, you can use your technology, guys. You can take a photo on my screen. Why you have to write? People are more lazy on that, right? Writing the notes and all. You can take a photo of my monitor screen and you can read it. So that's all, guys. We'll continue our discussion on tomorrow. As usually, we'll come up with more things and more details. So we'll discuss about that. Okay, right. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.